Welcome into this week's edition of the Co-Lin Coaches Show. We're all about basketball, and joining me first is our head women's basketball coach, Dr. Britta Stevens. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
And Coach, obviously a week where you got a little bit of some mixed results, maybe even a little bit up and down. You went 1-1, and you had a 13-point loss on the road to Holmes, and then you rebounded with a near 30-point win against South Art for the home opener of this past Thursday. Let's go back to the Holmes game first. Your thoughts on that one and just that game overall?
Yeah, well, Kevin, you're looking ahead. Holmes is tonight.
Mississippi Delta.
But Delta. We built the schedule to have challenges early, and we knew we were going to be a team with a lot of new faces and a lot of freshmen. And so this Delta game was a really big challenge for us as the third game of the season. I was very disappointed in the amount of times we turned the ball over in this game. We didn't play that bad, but we turned it over 30-plus times, and when you turn it over 30-plus times, it's nearly impossible to win the game. 30-plus times and less than 10 assists. So once again, very, very difficult to win the game. Defensively, I thought we played pretty well. We held them to 62 points. When you hold a team to 62 points, you're supposed to win the game, but when you can't score because you keep turning it over, it's hard to win. I thought we did some good things, especially in the second half of that game. We pressed some, and we were able to turn them over. They had nearly as many turnovers as we did when you looked at the box score. So I think that was a game that we learned a lot from. I was not a happy person to be around the next day, especially once I saw the turnover numbers, and I knew it was bad. I told Coach Rachel Thompson after the game, I said, I bet we turned it over 40 times. And so it wasn't quite that number, but it was a lot. And so I think that was a good eye-opening, awakening thing for our 10 new people to go, oh, this is different. Like one of the freshmen said to me, she was like, Coach, this is college basketball. It's so different than high school basketball. And I said, it is very different. And so I think that was a good early season challenge for us.
So, you look at this one, and you look at the game at Delta, not at Holmes. We'll talk about Holmes in a little bit. I'm sorry for everybody back home. Throw some confusion at you. But you look at it, and really it feels like the first quarter was probably the biggest difference maker. You got outscored 13-5, and you look at that and you go, it's just hard to overcome a bad first quarter. If you maybe a bad second quarter or a bad third quarter, but when you just come out the gate and it's not looking good, it's just hard to overcome that.
Yeah, when you come out to a slow start, it's hard. And when you come out to a slow start and shots aren't falling, that's one thing. But when you come out to a slow start and you're not getting shots at the basket, that's what makes it incredibly difficult. We turned it over 9 times in the first quarter. So we had more turnovers in that first quarter than we scored points. So again, that's very, very challenging. I'm pretty sure that was when I called timeout, and I pretty much lost my mind because we just kept throwing it out of bounds. And then not only were we doing that, we weren't where we were supposed to be defensively. And it's hard to, once those shots aren't falling, once you're turning it over, it's hard to keep yourself motivated on defense. And so it was just a negative, hard start to the game, and it became very difficult to overcome that. We cut it to 7. We cut the lead to 7 3 different times in the second half, but we never could get past that. Every time we would get it to 7, they would come back down and score. They're a good team. They've got a lot of transfer kids. They've got a lot of maturity. And so that was something. We had 10 new people, 9 freshmen who are going into their third college game. They've got a lot of new faces, but they're all mature kids who have played multiple college games. So there is a difference in that. And like I said, I think I really like this schedule, and I really like that we played them early because now in conference, they've got to come back to us, and we're going to be prepared. Delta plays a little different than anybody else. They play some matchup zone, and they press a lot, and not a lot of people in our league do that, and it's made them extremely successful. And so for us, as the third game of the season, we had not seen that. We had not practiced against that a ton. So that, like I said, I just feel like that really helped us grow as a team.
And you continue to look down that box score. 16-14 was the scoring totals in the second quarter. Third quarter, they outscored you 20-17. In the fourth quarter, it was 13 all. So you look at it, you go, man, if we'd have played more like the fourth quarter, maybe you still won on the road there. But you look at the line score for your players. Angel Wilkinson Cookie led the way for you, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. Just did everything that you needed her to do in this game.
Yeah, and she's a player that we're going to rely on to do a lot all night, every game. I mean, we expect big things out of her. She is our one returning sophomore who played double-digit minutes last year and who averaged double-digit points. So we expect that from her every night. And a lot of the load is kind of falling on her shoulders, especially early, because she is our one returner who's got that experience and stuff. One thing she's done an excellent job of is being a leader and trying to teach those freshmen and help them. And she and I have had that conversation. You can't get frustrated with them because they are learning and and we've got good pieces. We've just got to put the pieces together. And so I thought she played really well that night. I thought she did a good job of not getting frustrated. In moments where I was probably very frustrated, she kept, encouraging and kept pushing them and did a really good job. So very good night for her. And we expect that out of her every night.
And I think a couple of the new freshmen that really stood out. You had Kyzar Bell that had 9 points. I think her best offensive output so far up to that game. And then Tyra Johnson, she only had 2 points, but her impact was really felt on the board. She had 11 rebounds, including 9 defensive rebounds for you.
Yeah, Tyra Johnson, we kind of joke because she's a very quiet kid. She hardly ever talks to me or to anyone on the team. She's just a very quiet person, quiet personality, and so we call her the silent assassin because you don't even know it, and you look up and she's got 11 rebounds. Or in the shorter game, you don't even realize it, and you look up and she's at a double-double because she's just a very quiet. She does her job. She keeps her mouth shut. She plays hard. Now, on defense, they're like, Tyra doesn't talk, and I hear her on defense on the floor talking. She calls out ball screens, and she does all the little things that really matter. So she's a very important piece of what we're trying to do, especially since we're not big. It's her and Kristance Walters. Those are only 6-foot players. Kristance is a bigger, stronger post, but Tyra's very mobile. She can get up and down the floor. So when we're pressing, she's very, very helpful in that aspect. Kyzar Bell, and I got really frustrated in this game at Delta too. Kyzar Bell played her best game of the season. And the score sheet doesn't always show the really good things that she does. She handles the ball. She passes it. Some of the passes she makes, I'm like, how did she get that ball in there? She just understands the game, and she's got a great feel. And so midway or right at the end of the third quarter, she fouls, and they tell me on the bench, Coach, that's 4. I'm like, okay, let's get her out. And then the scores table tell me that's 5. I'm like, well, how can it be 5? Well, they got the scores. They transposed the numbers. They had given a foul to her. She's 32 that belonged to Cam Pruitt, who is 23. And so that really hurt us too, because now I've got a player who has fouled out at the end of the third quarter, who's playing really well, and I really needed her in the fourth quarter. So I wasn't very happy about that. And we argued it, and we showed them our book, and we talked to their book. But at the end of the day, all that matters is what the official book has. And that was a lesson for our players to learn. We have to know that just because what we have is something, whatever the official book, it doesn't matter. And so we have to play through that adversity.
So then you look to this past Thursday, finally come back to Mullen Gym, get to have your home opener. Play a team that, you went tooth and nail with twice last year, including an overtime game in Mullen Gym last year in South Arkansas, and you came out and you just dominated every facet of the game. 75-47 win. Talk about that one and how good it was to get the home portion started off with a win.
Yeah, well, it was nice to play in Mullen after we had 3 road games. We've got a lot of road games this fall. And then if you look back at our schedule in the spring, we play more home games. But we do have a lot of road games this fall. So it was nice to be in Mullen. It was nice to have our own crowd. It was nice to be able to get dressed in our own locker room and sit on our bench. South Arkansas, I had seen them earlier. They played Kilgore the second game of the season. So it was hard for me to really judge exactly how good they were going to be because Kilgore was so good. And we got some film on them, but film is deceiving. I knew they were going to be able to shoot the ball pretty well. I did not think they would. They did not shoot it well, and I thought they would have been a little bit stronger. And I think that's going to be something that's hard for our team because we do have to go back there next week, and they're going to shoot it better at home. Everybody shoots it better at home, just like we shot it really well in that game. I was super excited about that game. We came out from the tip, and we kind of hit them in the mouth. And I thought, yes, we played great on offense, but we played great on offense because our defensively, we were so good early in that game. We pressed them. We got them to turn it over. We got steals, and we were able to convert on those steals instead of getting steals and turning it over like we did at Delta. So that was a big focus for us in practice. After the Delta game was let's get the steal and convert and score instead of turning it over. And so we did a really good job of that in this game.
So you look at the box score, and, when I was writing this story, you're sitting there, I'm writing it, and I'm going, Lady Wolves had an 8-2 scoring run, had a 12-4 scoring run. It's just boom, 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 scoring runs all over the place. But you look at the first quarter, and really that set the tone. You outscored them 18-8. I think it was 6-4, 6-2 after the first couple of minutes, and then went on a long scoring run, and that's kind of like it really just kind of felt like it took the sails out of the Stars for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it did. And again, I think those scoring runs were sparked by our defense. We made them take tough shots. Did we play perfect defense? No, but we forced them into tough shots, and we were able to get rebounds and get out, or we were able to get steals. looking back on that game, after the game, I had to ask Coach Thompson, I said, who scored? Because I felt like everybody on our bench scored, and I felt like everybody contributed. And I didn't feel like there was any one player. I know Cookie was the leading scorer, and she was 5 for 7 from the three. I do remember that, but I don't remember it just being one player who was doing the scoring. I remember everybody contributing. And, again, we talk about Kyzar Bell. I don't know if she even scored in the game, but there was one time I looked at the bench and I went, I don't know how she got that pass in there. I didn't see her open, and she's threading the needle, and I'm going, wow. Because it's an unbelievable pass. So that was good to have everybody on our bench score, everybody get a little success. We needed a happy, feel-good game after Tuesday's game at Delta, where it was not happy and it was not feel-good, and Wednesday's practice was not happy and not feel-good. So we needed a Thursday game like that where everything clicked and everybody played well. And I think the reason everything clicked is because Tuesday was not good and Wednesday was so hard. We made practice so hard on Wednesday that they went, all right, we don't like this. We want to be happy, and we want Coach to be happy because she was not happy. And so I'm glad we had this rebound game.
And you continue to look down the box score. Another 18-point quarter in the second quarter for the Lady Wolves. You only allowed 9 for the Stars. You're up 36-17 at halftime. You outscored them 25-10 in the third quarter, and that might be the biggest quarter where the biggest change was. And then the fourth quarter, the Stars outscored you 20-14, but you had such a big lead. I don't think it was going to matter at that point.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in our defense at the very end of the game, and it's hard to keep them when you're up that big. It's hard to keep them motivated, and I thought we fouled too much late in the game. I thought we didn't. As good as we were defensively the first half, I didn't think we were as good the second half. So, but again, when you've got that kind of lead, it's hard to keep them motivated. And we played some players at the end of the game who had not gotten as many minutes, who had not gotten as much run, because they need that experience. And so that was, again, all part of growth, all part of learning, and all part of us getting better and getting ready for conference play.
You mentioned it a second ago. Cookie was the leading scorer. She had 18 points. You had a couple others in double digits as well, too, including Jamiria Robinson. She had 10. Imani Key had 10 as well, too. Cookie also had 6 rebounds to go with her 18. Had the second highest amount of rebounds. Your leading rebounder was Amari Barnes. But you mentioned it up and down the stat line. It's just, everybody that played just about it got to score, and you talked about it, but I feel like if anybody was in the gym watching or was sitting at home watching, if you didn't walk away being impressed by what Kyzar Bell can do with the ball in her hands, like I told you after the game, I said there were some moves she made. I was just like, that's unreal. It's unreal that that's a freshman making those kind of moves at this level.
Yeah, well, and she is not a player who passes the quote-unquote eye test. A lot of people, she's not a long, lanky, athletic body, but she just knows how to play the game. And I think that's going to be so valuable for us moving forward. And she struggled a little bit with turnovers, and she's so hard on herself. And, at halftime of the game, she's playing great, and she's crying in the locker room. And I'm going, what's wrong? And they're like, Coach, she doesn't think she's playing very well. And so our sophomore, Cookie, she goes to her, and she's like, you're playing great. Keep playing. And so the leadership there for her to do that, and for Ko-Lin to come back out and play well in the second half, and get over that and continue to play. And so she's so hard on herself. And that's what I told her after the game. I said, you played great. I said, nobody's down on you except you. You're being too hard on yourself, but she expects greatness. And so I think that's one thing you're going to see from this team is they want to be great. They work really hard, and they know that they knew at Delta. I didn't have to really go in and lose my mind because they knew at Delta they didn't play well. Going back to the 2 that scored 10, Jamiria Robinson was a kid in high school who was not called on to score at all. So we've had these conversations as she's come in, like, hey, you've got to look to be a scorer, have a scorer's mindset. In the first few games, she wouldn't even shoot the ball. And I'm like, you've got to have a scorer's mindset. If it's an open shot and it's a good shot for you, and out of the gate, she takes the first shot and it's a great shot and it goes in. And from that point on, she's like, okay, I can score. So, all these pieces, and I think there are players on that roster who haven't. Cam Pruitt hasn't had a great game yet. She is a very talented player, so we're waiting on that to click for her. Imani Key, she can be as good as she wants to be. And again, she's had some injuries. She didn't play in the Delta game. That was a big piece. We held her out because she was hurt, and then she comes back and has this really good game. So everybody, we're kind of like clay. We're still molding it, and we're still trying to figure it out. And that's hard for me because I want us to be good, and I want us to win every game. And so I have to take a step back sometimes and go, Coach, you got 10 new people. Give them time. Keep working with them. And so, but this game, we needed this game under our belt.
Yeah, and I think when you look at this box score, you look at it and you go, even players, even if they didn't find a way to get on the scoring line or didn't score a point, they found a way to contribute, be it 4 rebounds, be it 4 assists and 3 steals. Madison Mitchell, we talk about her having to adjust as a freshman, 5 points, 4 assists, 3 steals. That's a great line from
It is,
from a
for
freshman
freshman.
point guard in her fourth game.
Right.
Again, you look at Kyzar Bell, she only had 3 assists, but I think about the fact that there were several times she put people in scoring positions that if those points drop, she's got almost double-digit assists.
Right.
She had a couple of steals as well, too. And you look at Imani Key and Cookie Wilkinson, both with 3 steals. You stole the ball so much, and we talk about it before the show or after games and those kind of things. Assist-to-turnover ratio will give you a big thing. And this one, 21 assists to 13 turnovers. Right. You're going to win a lot of basketball games if that's the case.
If we can keep that stat line, if we can have more assists than we have turnovers, we're going to win a lot of basketball games. And we've talked about that. That was the only thing. After the game, I went in the locker room and I wrote on the board 21 and 13. And they were like, what are those numbers? I said 21 assists, 13 turnovers. They thought it was flipped. They were like, oh, we still got 20 turnovers. I'm like, no, this is why you won the game by 30 points. And so that's been a big focus is keep our turnovers 15 or less, 15 or fewer. If we can keep 15 or fewer turnovers, we can win the game. And so that's the focus for us because we know that turnovers have kind of been our Achilles heel early.
So you look at this upcoming week. This is when we'll talk about Holmes. You're right. I jumped the gun earlier. You go on the road on Monday. You'll face off against Holmes, and then you'll return to Mullen this upcoming Thursday. You'll have we'll have a doubleheader with both you and the guys playing Delgado on that one. But we'll look at the Lady Bulldogs first. What do you know about that bunch? I know a bunch that probably I think they like to press a good bit, so that doesn't really maybe play into your favor, knowing the turnovers have been a struggle early. But what do you know about that bunch coming into this one?
They're 2-1. They've played all their games at home. They beat Northwest on Thursday night, so we've got that film and we've watched it. It was a very close game. They had a transfer kid who scored a lot of points, who played really well. Similar to us in a lot of ways, don't have a lot of big posts, don't have a lot of big inside presence, more mobile, more of a guard-oriented team. So I think it'll be a good matchup for us. They do press some, and we spent a lot of time talking about that, and we spent a lot of time working against their pressure and break their pressure. If we can get past their pressure, then we can figure out ways to score. Break their pressure and don't turn it over. So I think it'll be an interesting environment because it is a women's only game and all their other games have been double headers. So I think their crowd will be a little less and that should play into our favor. Again, I like the road challenge. We went to Delta and we struggled and here we go again. We're fixing to go on the road and let's go on the road. And instead of struggling, let's go on the road and embrace the challenge because it will be a challenge. We're preparing to play in conference. And that's what I told him. I said, y'all, the conference schedule is built for us to win it. We've got the 4, who I think are the 4 best teams in our conference have to come to us. Southwest, Pearl River, Itawamba. Give me the 4th one. I'm drawing a blank. Those 3, and then one more have to come to us. So it's built for us to win the conference. But to do that, you've got to go on the road and win. And we've got some monster road trips. We've got to go to East Mississippi. We've got to go to Coahoma. Those are big-time road trips. So everything in the preseason is preparing us to be able to do that in the postseason and in conference play.
Gulf Coast and Southwest are 2 of the other
Gulf
home games,
Coast.
so that there's got to be one of those 2 that we were looking for there. But so you got that one. You got that one coming up on the road. Then again, return home. You get a doubleheader. Hope, get a little bit of a larger crowd because the guys are going to play after you. 5:30 Delgado, 7:30 guys after that. What do we know about the Dolphins coming into that one?
I don't know a ton about Delgado. We talk about this every time. I'm one game at a time. And our big motto early in the year has been let's go 2-0 every week. Well, to win 2, you got to win 1. So right now our focus is let's win against Holmes. We did scrimmage Delgado at Southwest on October 23rd. It was our last scrimmage of the day. It was their last scrimmage of the day. They had some injuries. We won the game pretty handily, but I don't want us to don't want that to be a misconception and us think, oh, well, this one's going to be easy because we've gotten better, but they've gotten better too. They went to Holmes and it was a closer game than you probably would have thought. They played Hines the other night and it was very close. So I don't want us to just assume, oh, well, we beat them at Southwest. It's going to be easy. Excited about having a doubleheader. I have not seen the men play yet. We practice back-to-back every day, and I know they're players, but a lot of times in this preseason, we don't get to see each other play, so I'm excited to get to see them play and excited for our student body and our fans to have a double header here in the fall so they can know what to look forward to when we get into conference play.
So lots of good things happening for the Lady Wolves. Again, they go 1-1 this past week, lose on the road at Delta 62-49, and then win the home opener against South Arkansas 75-47. This week they'll be on the road at Holmes 5:30 up in Goodman. Believe the Bulldogs will be streaming that one. We'll provide you the links online line as we have those. And then this upcoming Thursday at home, doubleheader, both teams in Mullen Gym against Delgado, 5:30, 7:30 tip-offs for those. If you can't make it, we'll be streaming those for you on CoLinAthletics.com. Stick with us through the break. Join me next as head men's basketball coach David Sanders. We'll talk about how the Wolves did in Florida this past week and then look forward to what they have coming up this week.
At Capaya Lincoln Community College, you'll find a family of instructors and staff who truly care about your success. And not to mention a really fun college experience too. Co-Lin was recently ranked number 1 in the state for student success. So whether you need to start or finish your college degree, take classes on one of our 3 campuses or online, Co-Lin is the place to be.
Thanks for sticking with us through the break, and joining me now is our head men's basketball coach, David Sanders. Coach, thanks for joining me. And Coach, obviously a time period where you've played 4 games since the last time we talked to you. You went 2-2, got a couple of really good losses, a couple of tough losses, and a couple of really good wins. We'll go back to that game against Delta. You go up there, you grab your first win on the road, 78-61 over the Trojans. Your thoughts on that game and how the guys were able to grab that first win of the season?
Yeah, I thought we did a good job coming out with some intensity, making some plays. Delta's a pretty good team. I think they just played Hines last night, lost by a point to Hines, and Hines has got some really good wins this year as well. So it looks like the league's going to be tough again, but Delta's a much improved team, and like I said, always well coached, and I thought the guys came out and played well.
You look at the box score, you outscored them in the first half 38-32, so that's where you hold the margin at halftime, hold that lead, and then you come out in the second half and you outscore them 40-29, and you look at it and go, you won both halves, and that's really for kind of a dull moment. That's how you win a lot of basketball games. But it's not always easy to go on a road and dominate a team like that guys were able to against Delta.
Yeah, it's definitely tough in this league to go on the road and win both halves in the in the conference. So to be able to do that, I thought it was I also thought it was a product of tough games we played earlier, and being able to go in there with some intensity that was left over from the last game. So we had 2 really tough games before that. So I thought it kind of carried over. Guys played well.
You look at the line score for the guys. You got 4 guys in double digits, led by Devin Bates, who had 25 points and 6 rebounds. And when you look at that and you say we got 4 guys in double digits, anytime you get that many, it's usually going to be a good result for the Wolves.
Definitely. Having a lot of guys in double digits, just means that your team is hard to guard, you know what I mean? Because if it's one guy getting all them numbers, it's kind of easy to load up for that. But, we try to spread it around and get different guys to contribute. Like to have, 15 to 20 bench points a game, with guys coming off the bench and just making plays for us. So, I thought that game we had a good mix of guys scoring.
And then you also look at Dakota Hillard with 12 points, 5 rebounds. Prince Ojukwu, 11 points, 7 rebounds, had the second most rebounds on the team in this one. And then Javian Watkins, 10 points, 6 rebounds. Your leading rebounder was actually Chris Stevens Jr., who had 4 points, 9 rebounds off the bench. So a lot of guys contributing in this win for you. But then when you look at the Florida trip, you take another trip down to Florida and you face off against number 10 Chipola and Gulf Coast State, and neither one of these games really went your way. And the score lines say they weren't really close games either, but I don't know that the score lines are indicative of how close the games probably felt at times. I know we got to watch a little bit of that Gulf Coast State game as that one was streamed, and that one felt closer than what that scoreline said it was. It just felt like they were able to take advantage of some things. But we'll talk about the Chipola game first. And what were your thoughts on the guys' effort against the number 10 team, Chipola, in the nation?
I thought we did a poor job of not just accepting what they were giving us. And both of those teams, they're known for their zones. They want you to shoot a bunch of long threes, and they rebound the ball and push it. So I thought we did a terrible job of turning down those threes and playing through contact to get to the basket. I think we shot maybe 4 to 6 threes against Gulf Coast State. So that's just way too many. We got to turn some of those shots into foul shots and just getting in the bonus and things like that. It's hard to get in the bonus when you don't touch the paint. So, but against Chipola's always a really good team. They're very tough to beat. They're long, athletic, and it's just a good game for us to be able to kind of measure where we are as a team. We know we got a lot of work to do. That's great for them to get. And from there, I think we get a lot more out of that than just playing games just for the sake of getting a win. You know what I mean? So just being able to measure yourself against the best teams.
And you look at the box score, you're outscored 50-37 in the first half and 48-34 in the second. That's how you get 98-71. Again, this one says it was a 27-point loss, but I weren't able to watch this one, but it's got to feel like at times maybe it felt a little bit closer than that. You did have two big performances. Devin Bates had 28. Dakota Hillard had 23. We just talked about it a minute ago how you like to spread it out a little bit more than that. But it was nice to, I think, see those two go out and answer the bell against the top team in the nation.
Yeah, I think both of those guys are really good players. I think both of them be all conference in our league. And they really showed up and played well, especially on the offensive end. And we just had a couple other guys that, we were expecting to get something out of that didn't really shoot it well. And that's going to hurt you in a game like that. You got to have all your bullets loaded when you go against a team like Chipola. So, we had some aspects we need to clean up, but we definitely feel like we competed and and played respectable basketball. We just gave up a few too many points and didn't score enough. So.
Right. And the Gulf Coast State game, this one you lost 96-70, and this one, like I said, did get to watch this one, and it did feel closer than what a 26-point scoring line says it is, especially in the second half. We'll go a little bit deeper into it, but your thoughts on this one, and it kind of maybe the guys were a little bit tired after having used so much energy the night before against Chipola, but your thoughts on how the guys performed in this one.
Yeah, I definitely thought we played with a little fatigue. Gulf Coast made some shots they don't normally make, and had some guys. Had one very familiar guy by the name of Emmanuel James, who had a great game against us. Athletic, he run, rebound, and it was just a big athletic team, man. And we couldn't really match their physicality. I thought they did a great job of keeping us out of the paint, and we didn't do the same. So, that's what you get when you're playing a top team. It's going to be tough on you if you don't do the little things.
Yeah, and you look at this box score, and really the first half was the major difference. You look at that one, they outscored you 50-29, and anytime you come back into the second half, and you got to try to overcome a 21-point deficit, it's just going to be a tough stretch. Yeah. Now you look in the second half, it's a 5-point half. It's 46-41 in their favor. But again, you take that second half. If you can replicate some of those things that you did in that one, you got to feel good going forward for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and that's the whole goal. They jumped out to a lead on us, and I always tell the guys we're not playing the scoreboard. You know what I mean? We're trying to develop how we're going to be as a team. It's early in the season. You got a lot of teams right now sitting at 4-0, 5-0 that haven't been tested. So we definitely have been tested, and I'm very proud of how the guys finished the game. They kept scrapping, kept fighting. We couldn't get shots to fall, but I thought we competed. I thought some guys that didn't play a lot of minutes early on stepped in and gave some good minutes, and we kind of, got a few more guys going in that second game than we did in the first game.
And again, that name we've mentioned already before, Devin Bates. Again, your leading scorer with 22 and 6. And then your next best guy was actually Prince Ojukwu, had his first double-double, 16 and 13. But the most impressive part of it might be 5 blocks. I don't know that you've ever had a player have 5 blocks in the game in the near 4 years that you've been here. Not that I can remember off the top of my head. Just what is it about Prince that it seems like. He is a freshman. He's still learning, but it seems like he's got the ability to be a really special player.
He does. He's definitely a very instinctual guy, and that's what I think. I don't think he's a great athlete. I just think he's very great with his instincts. He's where he's supposed to be. He has these huge hands, longest thumbs I've ever seen in my life. So he has the ability to get his hand on the ball, in places that he probably shouldn't. And I thought he just did a great job of coming back after that first game and giving us more. I was begging for him to get on the glass for me, and he did that. Had a huge double-double for us. So I definitely think he got a chance to be an all-conference player.
All right. And then Keyshawn Shields came off the bench and gave you 11 as well, too. I know with a guy like Keyshawn, when you get those kind of points, especially coming off the bench, a guy that you're probably going to have to rely on a lot going down the stretch and through conference, it's good to see him be able to get a game like that and really kind of grow from it.
It is. Keyshawn he really carried it over last night as well. And I think he's one that can really put the ball in the hole for us. He's a great ball handler, great defender. So it's good to see him kind of pick it up and kind of take the challenge. Him and JJ has given us, a lot of what we kind of lost with Court being out. So, I think we're solid at the point guard now with those two. We just got to continue to grow as a team and get some more guys to step up and help us.
So, and then we look at last night. You have your home opener against Baton Rouge Post-Grad. You get this one, a big win, 107-84. Your thoughts on this one and how the guys were able to come out? I thought they had really good energy to start the game. Maybe waned off a little bit there in that second half. But your thoughts on overall how big it was to go out there and get a win in the home opener?
No, it was huge, man. after playing those 4 games in Florida, man, sometimes you just need to go get a win, man. And I thought the guys did a great job of going over there and playing hard. But we got back home, I'm looking for a win. We needed one, and was able to get one last night. Put up over 100 points, which proves that we can really shoot the ball, score the ball when we get a chance. And I didn't like the fact that we gave up 84, but in a situation like that, coming off those games and all that travel, man, it's a tough stretch. And I thought the guys handled it well. Come out and get a win. Some of our top players didn't play a whole lot of minutes, and other guys stepped up. So that's what you want. You want everybody on your roster to be able to contribute.
So you look at the box score for this one. You outscored them 60-38 in the first half, and again, it feels like you come out in the second half and you're really going to cruise. And really, Baton Rouge Postgrad kind of answered the bell. They were able to kind of withstand that early second half surge, really push the lead down to single digits at one point, got it down to 9. Obviously, the guys were able to kind of right the ship and push past that. So, I think, as you mentioned, that's a good thing to see is, the guys really didn't panic. They were able to just go, all right, we'll weather this, we'll make it through it, and we'll find a way to win it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of them trap games, where you get a team like that and you're kind of overlooking them. And they scrap, man. This is a very, very scrappy team. They play a lot of really good teams in our league. And, we definitely, had to come out and put the hammer down and go ahead and get past them because they were trying to sneak back in the game. And, I think we did a good job of just holding on and getting the lead back up to 20 and kind of just cruising from there. I didn't want to play my starters as much last night because I know they had a long weekend and then we got a tough game against Delgado Thursday. So, but all in all, I was pleased with the victory.
You look at the line score. Dakota Hillard led the way, had 4 guys in double digits. He had 24. Devin had 18. Javian Watkins had 13. He had a team high 8 assists. I thought he did a really good job of distributing the ball. It had several chances, probably well above double-digit assists as well, too. And Keyshawn Shields, another game where he had double-digit points off the bench with 12. He also had 8 rebounds, but your leading rebounder again was Prince Ejukwu, 6 points, 9 boards. So up and down through that one yesterday, guys finding ways to make an impact.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, for Keyshawn to get 8 rebounds at his size, I know Javian Watkins has had 6 rebounds in a game. It tells me those guys really, really just want to win and they're scrapping, and that's what we got to do because we don't have a huge team down low, so we got to dig in. All 5 guys got a rebound, so I thought. Those guys did a great job stepping up, and I think Prince will be a 7, 8, 9 rebound a night type guy. He's just one of those guys. When he consistently goes to the glass, he's gonna get the rebound. So
now you look at this upcoming schedule. You've got another game at home this week. Give everybody a little bit of a preview of what most of the conference schedule will look like. You'll play that doubleheader with the girls. Both of you playing Delgado. Girls at 5:30. Guys to follow. Hopefully at 7:30, but around 7:30 is what we'll say. What do we know about Delgado coming into this one? What are you expecting out of that group when they come into Mullen on Thursday?
They're a really good point guard. Really good point guard. He's got a kid out of Louisiana that I saw. We recruited a little bit, and he's gonna give us a tough challenge. They got a 3-4 man that's really good. Got 2 really good scoring guys in those 2, and the rest of the guys kind of do a good job of filling in. This is probably one of the better Delgado teams I've seen. They're always well coached, but these guys can really put the ball in the hole. They beat Hines at Hines. Played a tough game with Holmes, and so this is a team we're going to have to come out and really, really kind of take care of the ball and make sure we're not making mistakes to beat ourselves because they're one of those teams that can jump up and bite you.
All right, so lots of good things happening for the men's basketball team as well. Again, the Wolves go 2-2 in their last 4, pick up their first 2 wins with wins over Delta, 78-61, and at home against Baton Rouge Postgrad, and then drop a couple in Florida as well too. Again, Wolves and Lady Wolves will both be at home this upcoming Thursday. Lady Wolves tip off at 5:30. Guys to follow, scheduled for 7:30, but we'll say around 7:30. Just time, we never know what's going to happen, but 7:30 is the scheduled tip. So both of those against Delgado, we'll have them on stream for you if you can't make it, but we hope to see you in Mullen on Thursday. I'm Kevin Kyzar, Sports Information Coordinator here at Co-Lin. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.